rising for the 11th month in a row. 11th month in a row. Have you been buying for 11 months in a row? The smartest guys on this fiat money system are buying gold as much as they can, as quickly as they can. And personally, I think you should always do what the smartest guys in the room are doing for themselves. Regardless of what they make that spot market look like. Because that is simply a contract market, and they can create as much gold that does not nor ever will exist as they want to. No big deal. Before they changed the accounting rules, I saw myself with my own eyes, unfortunately before I knew print screen, where for every 1 physical ounce of gold, the banks had created over 62,000 ounces of digital gold. You think that could suppress the visible price? But in the physical market, there's a finite amount, and people have been buying a whole lot more. Same thing with silver. Anything physical, there is a finite amount. And so what we've been seeing in this market are new highs coming up, breakouts happening. I've shown you this before because frankly, they have expanded their gold reserves at the central bank for the 5th month. Interesting. Why would they be doing that, you might ask? Well, in an interview with Kitco News, Paul Wong, he's a market strategist at Sprott, said, analysts note China is expected to continue to increase its official gold reserves as it builds international credibility for the yuan. Why would they do that? Because fiat money is based on a government's ability to have your confidence, and globally and in China as well, confidence, public confidence in those that are in power are declining. And so history shows us 100% of the time when all confidence in the currencies are lost, what do governments do? They back the new currency at the end of the day with gold to get you, the public, to trust it again. And this is not a surprise. Okie doke, nations have to be strategic as they diversify their holdings and can't just dump all the US dollars they're holding. So what they're trying to create in here is a planned demolition. Now, what happens because the whole world has been forced to use US dollars if you're going outside of your borders to buy oil or lumber or medicine or food or anything. But we know that that trend has been shifting. It is really, 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 frankly, at a critical mass now, heating up. The spot market does not represent the true fundamental value of an ounce of gold, which is substantially higher than this, maybe 15,000, maybe more. So this is truly undervalued. And not because Wall Street decides that, but because that is how those overnight resets take place. They take dollars that have, well, it might as well be this, but this is a $20 bill, right? They take dollars that have no intrinsic value. They're used in one place. That's it in the financial system. And they revalue them against gold that is all intrinsic value because it's used across every single avenue of the global market, every single market, every single sector. That's when you will see gold begin to express to its fundamental value. So you want to get it now, like the central banks are doing it, while we still can. And I want to show you something here technically, because this is the spot gold market. And you know, I talk all the time about the physical gold market, but when I have the opportunity to give you a technical lesson, I'm going to do it. So here we see the cup formation, right? It's jagged, but you can see it clearly, and this is an accumulation pattern. Well, we had a breakout back in 2020, right? We broke out. And then they've been holding it down like a spring, right? So what happens is when you hold a spring and you release your hand, that spring is going to shoot in a direction. What we're experiencing right now is most likely to be a triple top. So in reality, this market, even the spot gold market, wants to go higher, but it's being suppressed and pushed down and pushed down. When we get this breakout above this level, that third test might go down again, but when it breaks above that level, you are going to see spot gold shoot like nobody's business, just like it always does. And remember, when I get technical, this works for everything, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not just talking about gold, but this is what this chart is telling me. And at the same time, that it's also telling me that economic optimism is collapsing. It was in 2019, 53%. Today, it sits at 40% in just a couple of years. People now fear for their economic future without a trust safety net. Only 40% of respondents say they and their families will be better off in 5 years, a 10-point decline from 2022. This is not a good thing because this whole Ponzi scheme requires confidence. This is an indication of that loss of confidence. So even corporations are becoming more aware. Palantir buys $50 million worth of gold bars to counter a black swan event. We've had so many black swan events, it's been incredible. And we see the wars globally heating up between China and the US, not just the Ukraine and Russia, which is really just a proxy war. But in many other places, we're seeing more and more conflicts heating up. In fact, what's interesting, particularly about Palantir, is that Palantir, best known for its secretive work with the CIA and other government bodies, has bought $50 million worth of gold bars in preparation for another black swan event. Do you think they might know something that you don't? You think you might follow suit? Personally, I always think you should do what the smartest guys in the room on any given topic are doing for themselves, and they're buying physical gold. Now, gold bars is not what I would buy as an individual, so I do this, and I do it while it's still well below its true fundamental value, because one thing I'm quite clear on is this has almost no value left.